have some of this super chunky yarn and you're looking for the best crochet stitch to make a blanket? Well, today I have just the stitch for you. It is a dreamy 2-row repeat, so you get the most bang for your buck with that yarn. Each one of these stripes is one ball or one cake, so you really do need a lot of yarn, but there's no holes or very little holes, and it works up so great. It's very squishy, it's very thick. I show you how to join because that's another problem. I used 17 100-gram cakes for this blanket. Just great, like a nice little lapgan on your sofa, on your veranda. So squishy. It's great. So let's go inside and I'll show you how to make it. So to start the perfect crochet blanket stitch for super chunky, bulky yarn, go ahead and make a slip knot any which way you normally do. Shrink that down and pop it onto your hook. And we're going to chain 65. There's no multiple for this pattern, and your stitches will shrink up a little bit, so make your chain longer than you want the width of your blanket to be. And you don't want to chain too tightly, so make sure you're pushing your loop up to the fat part of your hook each time. And don't correct your stitches, that they will look a bit like that. And by correct your stitches, I mean if you're going in, don't tighten, like don't pull your yarn to get it to be that exact size. We want it to be a little bit relaxed and loose, just natural. So just get a good feel for it and chain 65. You can pause the video and I'll meet you when your chain is the length or the width you want your blanket to be. If you'd like to follow along with a written pattern, all of my patterns are available on my website, secretyarnery.com, and all of my patterns are written in plain English, just like I was sitting there right beside you. For this tutorial, I'm just going to be doing a shorter sample. So when you've chained 65, go ahead, chain one more, and turn your work to the side. We are looking for these back loops, or these little camel bumps along the back. The first one is right underneath the working yarn, and the second one is right there. We want to be working in to the second back loop, so just slide it onto your hook and make one single crochet. And now you can use normal tension, just how you would normally be crocheting. And we're going to make one single crochet into each back loop, all the way back down along our chain. Just sliding each back loop onto your hook and making one single crochet into each. We are working into our back loops so that the bottom of our blanket looks the same as the top. So the top of our blanket looks like this, and now the bottom of our blanket looks like that. You can see they look the same, so it just makes it nice and pretty on the bottom. And we made bigger chains, so it has the same stretch. We don't want one of those blankets that's really tight at the bottom. That's why we used bigger chains at the beginning. So now keep working along. You can pause the video, one single crochet into each back loop, all the way along, and I will meet you when you get to the end of your chain right over here. At the end of your row, after you've made your last single crochet into that last back loop, we're ready to start row 2, which is the first row of the repeat. So chain 1, and we want a bit of a bigger chain, so make it a bit of a bigger loop. Turn your work, and into the very same stitch, so the first stitch right here, we're going to be working right into that stitch with a double crochet. Just pop your hook in and make one double crochet. If you're new to crochet, you can also pop a stitch marker into that stitch we just made, just to mark the end of your row. I've got booger on my yarn. There we go. And now we're going to make one double crochet into each of these stitches all the way along the row. So 1 double crochet into each stitch for repeat row number 1. So you can pause the video, just keep working along, 1 double crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you at the end of this row right over here. At the end of your row, your last stitch is right there. So make your last double crochet into that last stitch. And that finishes row 2, which is the first row of the repeat. Now, the next row of the repeat is row 3. To start the second row of the repeat, chain 1 and just pull up a bit of a bigger loop again. Turn your work. And now we're going to do half double crochets starting in the very same spot. We're starting in this stitch here, half double crochet, and a half double crochet into each of these stitches all the way along your row. So into the very first stitch, 1 half double crochet. And again, you can mark that with a stitch marker if you are new to crochet. Like that. And now 1 half double crochet into each stitch all the way along the row. You can pause the video, keep working along, 1 half double crochet into each stitch, and I will meet you when we get to the end of this row right over here. At the end of your row where that stitch marker is, we're doing our last half double crochet into that stitch. And you can pop that stitch marker out, do your half double crochet, chain 1, pull your loop up a little bit, turn your work, and now we're going to work all the way back doing double crochets, 1 into each stitch, starting in that very first stitch right there, and 1 double crochet all the way along. You can mark your first stitch of each row with a stitch marker, and just pause the video and keep working along until your blanket is the height you want it to be. If you want to join another ball of this super fat chunky yarn or change colors, I'll show you an easy way to do that. So we're going to start by making a magic knot. So take your new yarn and wrap it around your old yarn like that and make a knot. You don't have to leave a long tail. This you can shrink right up. We don't want to waste any of this yarn, so just a short little tail, and really pull it snug. Now this yarn doesn't fray and you can pull it really tight. So depending on your chenille yarn, it might behave differently than mine. But for mine, this works a treat. Now take your old yarn and do the same thing around your new yarn. So wrap it around and make a little knot, leaving like a little 1-inch tail. And pull it really tight. And now grab your yarn and just slide those 2 knots together. And we want to pull this really tight as well. We want to pull the yarn and we want to pull our tails. If it's going to snap, it's better to snap now. We don't want it to be snapping in our blanket. So feel free to be rough on it. If it snaps or breaks, just trim off that little bit of yarn and try again. So when it's not moving anymore, it's nice and secure. We're going to trim off those tails nice and carefully. Like that, and like this. And now we're going to get a lighter, and we're just going to singe down the knot so that yarn kind of gets, or the fibers get a bit stuck to each other. You don't want it to change color, but we do want it to blend a little bit or get a bit stuck. It's just a security measure. So that magic knot will stay put. You don't want to do it too much so it gets crunchy, but you do want it to feel, you see how it's shriveled up a little bit? You do want that. And go ahead, pull it again. If it's going to break, let it break now. It's pretty good. Just like that. Get that side a little bit, that tail, this tail a little bit. There we go. So now you are ready to just keep crocheting with that yarn, and we can hide this inside of a stitch. So I'm just going to crochet up to it, and then we'll see if we have to adjust our stitches. If you can grab it with your hook and bring it through, we can get it to the top. Ooh, that was really lucky. I'd be happy with that because it is right inside that stitch. I'll just keep going a minute so we can see where it is, and it's kind of hiding right underneath there. So I would probably keep that tucked in the middle of that stitch. I'm okay with it. But let me show you, if it's not, you can just frog your yarn back a couple stitches, say 2 or 3 stitches, and then use less tension or more tension, depending on if you have to use up more yarn. You can try that to get it hiding inside that stitch. See, that's worse for me because it's sitting out on the back side. So frog it back, and I'm going to use a little more tension to get my yarn a little longer. There we go. So if you can grab that knot right where you're coming through, there you want the knot underneath your hook, that's going to keep it in your stitch. See, it got hidden. It got hidden. It is hidden inside my stitch, just like that. And then just keep going for a few stitches so you can go back and check that you like where that knot is. And then no tails to sew in or anything. And there is your magic knot join. Can't see it at all on that side. You can see it a little bit in the middle in there, but you can't feel it on either side, so I'm happy with that. Now pause the video and keep working along until your blanket is the height you want it to be. 1 row of double crochets and 1 row of half double crochets, and you get this really nice texture where there's a space every once in a while, but in the half double crochet row there is no spaces at all. So I really like how that looks. So pause the video and keep working along, and I will meet you when your blanket is the height you want it to be. When your blanket is the size you want it to be, we want to finish with 1 row of single crochet going back, same as we started. So to start that, chain 1, but a regular size chain 1. We don't have to make it any bigger. Turn your work, and then 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and 1 single crochet into each stitch going all the way across. So you can pause the video, keep working ahead, just 1 single crochet into each stitch, and I'll meet you when you get all the way over here to the other end. At the end of the row, after your last single crochet, we're going to chain 1 to secure your yarn and cut your yarn. We're going to have to sew this tail in. Pull your hook up and your yarn through, snug that down to secure, sew in your last tail and your first tail, and you're finished. So I hope you enjoyed making yours as much as I enjoyed making mine. I'm waiting for you in that video up there, and stay hooked.